Can you put a one in the comments if you can hear me out there? Yeah. Well, hello everyone. We've had some really rubbish music, which I know you always like. We have a guest on tonight, which is a bonus. Mark, you're to do with the farming stuff, aren't you? And I don't know really very much. We've had a chat on the phone, unfortunately for me, while I was driving a truck, so not 100% taking everything in, obviously. But yeah, Mark, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing at the moment and what you're involved in, because I understand that you're a wholesaler of fruit and veg, aren't you?
Yeah, sure. So from my side, I come from a family farm background, qualified and got a degree in farming and, you know, done all that side of it, and then start to get a bit older and you start to pick to bits some of the bullshit and lies you've been told and, you know, through university and so forth. And you start to understand how things stack up differently. And I run a small farm myself inside the family farm. So I'm quite a busy person. And, well, you know, we've been looking at, with the fruit and veg wholesale side, since the pandemic, the fruit and veg wholesale prices have gone up and up and up and up. And that's down to lots of things, predominantly based around, in my belief, what the WEF are doing to close down the food supply chain. Right, and the WEF are the World Economic Forum, right? Absolutely.
Okay.
So,
just for anybody who doesn't realise, you know, because I'm going to put this in the most basic of terms so that I can understand it. That way, everybody else can understand it. That's the theory. So, the World Economic Forum are taking action to make life worse.
Yes. So, an unelected, bureaucratic load of billionaires basically telling us what we can do. So, you know, from my side, family farm is generations and generations and generations deep. The uncle who runs the farm now is, you know, a very awake person. Very blessed with that, to be honest. And what we're seeing is the farming community being literally crushed under bureaucracy, and that they are being forced to the point it is more profitable not to grow food and we'll grow pretty flowers and grass instead. Oh. And when I talk about profitability, they're under the new subsidy schemes, certainly for England. I don't know about Ireland and Scotland, but certainly under the English ELM scheme, you can get up to £250 per acre to grow pretty flowers. And if you grow, let's say, wheat or barley, where we are in the UK and East Anglia, it's predominance of our, it's either sugar beet or wheat barley, something like that. You know, you might come out with £25 an acre. So farmers are looking at it and going, 5-year scheme if we step into this. But then when they start to look at it, farmers obviously want to grow something, produce something. That's what their family generations, deep roots are about. So they're being paid all this money and they're starting to go, well, that's all good and well, but where are we going to get the food from? So you then start looking at this, Simon, you go, oh, well, a lot of people will go, fine. What we'll do is we'll just import it from overseas. Until you start digging into this narrative, what's coming about by the WEF, and you start to understand that Europe's been offered all this as well. Not just Europe, America, Africa, India, Russia, China, and a lot of the countries have already sealed their borders so that you cannot export food anymore, especially grains and rices. So the bulk food, what would have been shipped around the globe, isn't being, it's making, and that's what's forced the prices up over the course of the last couple of years. So that on top of three main things which are coming out of the farming community from where I sit. So you've got one, which is the BS around net zero. Yep. That obviously includes the fact that, we'll grow pretty flowers and we'll, won't grow any food. Cows farting, that's a damn issue we've got to deal with because that's just going to ruin the planet considerably.
Obviously, yeah.
Obviously, those who are into the fact of fact finding will soon realise that if you dig into that just that much, it doesn't stack up.
Right.
So we've got that in the background. We've got the fact that fuel costs, whether that fuel as in diesel for the tractors, what was 20 pence a litre at the start of the pandemic, is now £1 a litre. So that's gone up 5 times. Obviously, electricity costs and things like that for running whether that's coolers, blowers for heating the grain to dry the grain out, whatever that might be. That's obviously skyrocketed. And then you've got the third thing, which is the supply chain. Now, the supply chain, in my opinion, is so broken, I don't know how it still goes.
Right.
And when I say the supply chain, I'm talking about things outside the wholesalers like myself and wholesale and retail shops like in the village shops, farm shops, people like that, outside of that. So I'm talking about the big supermarkets and the producers and the pack houses what sit within that. So food producers, like I said, Bird's Eye, for instance, might sit inside that. And you've got people like that what are sitting inside the supply chain, what's so brittle, so damaged. And obviously when it fell over last time, it created panic within 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just to give you an idea, I have a friend who works inside Tesco's at a very high level. And he said to me the other day, do you realise that when the pandemic started, we had enough stuff in the system to hold the system up for 3 days? We now hold 67% less stock. So that says by 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the first day,
you're stuffed.
They shut the doors because then it's game over. So that says to me the situation is a lot worse than it was last time. Now, my belief is that last time was just a trial anyway. That was just to see how people like us responded to being able to get food into the country.
Yep.
And what happened was as Holland and Spain and everything was just piling everything through the borders like they would have done normally, people like us took up the slack in the system with farm shops and things, and that carried on without a problem. For us, our farm shop went from taking £100 a day to £15,000 a day.
Beautiful.
We went from selling 10 veg boxes a week to 400 boxes a day.
That's bonkers, isn't it?
It was crazy times.
But that's good, isn't it? That's local. That's what you want.
Absolutely. So we had all the local farmers supplying us with stuff. We were making up veg boxes. They're going out to local people. And, and we was only delivering in a 10-mile radius.
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely fantastic. Now, you look at this and you think to yourself, so if the supermarket supply chain's broken, and there's a second section to that as well, Simon. So the supply chain not only being broken, the farmers are getting so screwed of what's happening. So I spoke to a farmer the other day and he said, a dairy farmer, and he said, I get paid 36 pence a litre by every little Hertz by that particular supply chain. Mm-hmm. He said, and it cost me 42 pence a litre to produce the milk. So every time the tanker goes up the drive, I lose hundreds and hundreds of pounds. It goes up the drive twice a day, and there is nothing I can do about it because the price of the milk was set when cost of production was at, let's say, 28 pence a litre. So he was earning out of it. It was getting a good living. And then obviously it's changed, and the cost of living and the cost of the running the farm has gone up. The cost of production's gone up. So they're now in the position that they're losing money every time they produce something. So, and this is the same whether it's a veg grower, a meat producer, whatever that might be. I talk to farmers all over the UK, and they're all in the same position if they're supplying into the main supply chain. So how do we get out of that is the question I ask myself. Supermarkets are not going to budge because we all know they're owned by BlackRock and shareholders and whatever that might look like.
And they're the ones that are screwing us.
And they're only out there for one thing: shareholders' profits. They do not care what happens to the farmer. If that farmer falls off off of the system, there'll be another one to take their place. That's their philosophy. Now the problem is we're running out of farmers.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
That on top of the fact that they're now being paid and given incentives not to produce food.
That's just
it's just closing the gap even more. I mean, in my, so I'll come back to this side of it. Some weeks ago now, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was approached to join a group that stood for No Farmers, No Food. And we set up a Twitter page for that. And that's gone up, I think, to about 53,000 people in, I think it's less than 20 days. So that says to me that a lot of people are interested in what we've got to say. Social media as a whole, people have been using the logo to put on their own statuses to bring it to light. There's been so many interviews by good people like yourself taking the time to interview not only myself, but, sort of dozens of us across the UK. And that is getting the message out. Now, the question I get asked a lot is, Mark, why are the tractors not out yet? Why are the tractors out all over Europe, but they're not out in England? So I'll try and answer that best I can. As far as I'm concerned, and this is my opinion on this. This doesn't come from the No Farmers, No Food campaign group. This is my opinion. I spoke to a friend who lives out in Germany. He's an English lad, married a German farmer's daughter. And I said to him, I said, crikey, you soon got all the tractors out and so forth. He said, no. He said, we've spent 12 weeks planning this. He said, we spent 4 weeks doing interviews, getting out on the shows, talking to people, putting up logos and getting it out there. He said, and then we got the public engaged. So first 4 weeks is about getting the public to see there was an issue, then getting the public engaged. And then when we did go out, people were prepared to back the farmers in what that decision was. At the end of the day, Simon, including myself here, no farmer has the time to go and take a tractor off a field for weeks on end just to piss the government off. They've got livestock to look after, crops to manage, farms to run.
And the price of that tractor has to be earning all the time because it's like 200 grand's worth of tractor upwards, isn't it?
Absolutely. So there's got to be a real last resort to be in the position that you take that tractor and go and make a stand, right? So I think what will happen is we will go through this transition period of people seeing what we're doing, why we're doing it, realizing that the farmers are getting screwed over by the supermarkets and the big supply chains. And I'm not just talking about supermarkets, producers as well. People who produce ready meals, packet food, overly produced stuff, not just raw ingredients. And as a result of that, obviously, you get to a point where the public are then behind the campaign, and that's where we need to be before the tractors roll out. Do I think the tractors will go out? In my opinion, I think that will happen. I don't know when, but I do think that will happen. Now, there's another side to this, and I did a talk today in a place called Ely in Cambridgeshire to a group of very awakened people, and one of them asked the question, Mark, what's your thoughts on food shortages? I'm going to put this in real blunt terms. If you haven't yet stocked up, now might be a good time to think about that. I genuinely believe that within the next, if the farmers go out and stay out, we could be talking about weeks. Now, bearing in mind that what's happening all over Europe, there's no food coming in from Spain, Italy, Holland, where we would normally get a large amount of our fresh produce from. None of that's coming in. So they're still trying to fly stuff into the UK. Okay, at the minute that's getting through, but how long before the farmers want to blockade that and stop that as well?
Mm-hmm.
So if we stop the food coming into the country and all the farmers are on strike, where's the food coming from?
We're going to go hungry, but that's the whole point.
Very hungry, very quick.
I mean, in my case, I could do with losing a few pounds, but I wouldn't want to do it that way, right? And we are going to. You remember when we had lockdown and the toilet roll debacle, where people started attacking people over that? Well, it'll be the same for a cauliflower or a broccoli or whatever.
Well,
go on.
All I was going to say, I don't know if you've got children yourself. I've got children and grandchildren, and it absolutely terrifies me, the fact of not being able to feed them. And I've been stockpiling food for years, so I've got an abundance of food, and I'm not too worried about us. But you can see those situations. If people were going to fight over toilet rolls, what depth would they go to feed their family?
They'll end up in violence.
Yeah.
Right, and that's when the fall of not society, but there's a breakdown, isn't there? And at that point, that's when the government gets its way of doing more draconian things to sort out that violence or the breakdown of society at that time or whatever it is. So it's a necessary evil of what the farmers have to do, and it's a necessary punishment that we have to go through because we've not done anything about the powers that be. We've taken full advantage of cheap food for so long without caring how it affected other people. And we haven't bought locally. That's another problem, because I went to the butcher's today, bought a load of meat, and I didn't. It was just sausages and a pie and some faggots and stuff like that. I buy a lot of sausages because I eat them in the breakfast, but 39 quid. That's not cheap. I can get it a lot cheaper at Tesco's. But I also know that the stuff in Tesco's, if it's manufactured, right, you don't know what's in it. You haven't supported local people. And I don't like fucking Tesco's. I don't like any of them because I've worked for all of them and I know what a bunch of ruthless bastards these people are, right? And they're all about the green agenda and all about this until they've left the pallet off, and they'll send a double-decker truck 40 miles in the wrong direction with one fucking pallet. So it's all full of shit anyway, right? But they hold farmers in contempt, I'm sure, right? They laugh on the board. We just screwed them for a bit more. What they're going to do? They can't do anything. We're the only people buying. And I hate the bastards for it. I truly do. And the only way to get a result is hit the profits hard. Really hard.
I was just going to say, one of the things which the group is working on is, and another group, I don't know if you've ever come across Catherine, who started the PFFA. So very intelligent lady who's worth an interview, I will say.
Well, she wants to come on.
I'll talk to her and get her on. I know she's down with flu this week, but she'd love to come on. Now, she's been looking at alternative ways to bring food to market. So right from farmers selling from the gate to vegetable box schemes to setting up food hubs where all of the farmers supplying to a local point where people can come to, and veg box schemes run from there. All of these things. And obviously from our side as a wholesaler, we're delivering out to village shops, out to farm shops, out to cafes, restaurants. We've run a veg box scheme as well. People like us, what could take on a lot more of the slack. Now, I think, like you just said, Simon, if there's one thing you want to do as the members of the public to really get behind this campaign, is turn off the bloody money to supermarkets. Just cut them dead. That's the biggest thing what's going to hurt them. Now, we all know they'll come back with extra club points or, get your Nectar card out and we'll, reward you. Just stop listening to the nonsense. Stop buying into it. Go and support local produce from local suppliers. Your butchers, your bakers, your greengrocers, whether that's a market stall, whether that's a farm shop, a box scheme, whatever that needs to look like, have it delivered, go and get it, whatever. Cut them sods out of the equation because they do not care. That profit, what they earn, goes to shareholders to buy another damn boat, whatever it might be. If you go down to the local butchers and you say to Harry, "Oh, Harry, can I have a pound of sausages, a pack of bacon and a joint for Sunday roast?" What he spends might get spent in the, I don't know, the local pub, the local, chip shop, whatever it might be. he pays his own staff who live locally. That money it stays local. And this is the problem. We've allowed, and I mean allowed, supermarkets to grow bigger and bigger and bigger and gain more and more strength and just take complete control of the food supply chain. And not just them. You've got, the likes of Kilgates and different people who are out there who are constantly buying up farmland, for instance, with no intention to grow anything on it. That's the quickest way to starve the population. Own the land and don't grow nothing.
They had the rewilding scheme over in Wales going back. And the purpose was to destroy the land so that basically if you ever want to use it again, you had to, because they had, there'll be butterflies there, or be these, or they'll be there, and you won't be able to plow it because of reasons. So once you've got this, and especially over in Wales, you got this like fern type of stuff, which is brutal.
Yeah.
And what they started doing, because of all these laws, at midnight, they'd send a tractor out, put a plow through it and plant turnips. And all of a sudden they wake up in the morning and that field had been turned over. And that was the way they got around it. But I've had a letter from a guy who was saying, well, not a letter, it's a mail. And he says he's worked on a farm, and he says the things that they're trying to do, and he was doing basically slurry work and that kind of stuff. But he said that what the situations probably were according to the powers that be had to, the tank that they had to get was a £300,000 deal to do. That was 90,000 to the year, a year to the bank. The bank has just done a 12-month review and basically had them over, up their costs. They've lost a lot of work. There's sepsis and following other things like this. The increase, the red tractor. Do you know about that? That you said they're a bunch, exactly that, yeah. And he said all the other stuff that they've got to do with the hedges and I'm just scanning through this at the moment. But basically, it was going on about how much the milk cost, which we've talked about, and then how much now you'll get for a calf that you would have got 3-4 times the amount for.
Yeah.
And then the feed that's gone up and the storage of the feed. And now you have to have things covered rather than having them open. And then when you get them covering, somebody else, I think it was yourself, said about it, that when this becomes a covered building, they're going to up the rates as well.
Yeah,
so that's another way of screwing you.
Yeah.
So you get that. But he's just saying about just the cost of everything. They've put it up so much that basically farmers are working at a loss now.
Absolutely.
And it's only a matter of time before these farms go pop. Now, what happens then? Does the bank seize them back?
Yeah.
That's usually what happens, isn't it? So the bank then owes this and then where does it go after that? Do they sell it to another person, or does the government come along and say, we'll have that and buy it up?
What you have to understand is if BlackRock sit behind the banking system and they end up with all of this property, all they have to do is put it into rewilding and get paid £250 an acre. It's a no-brainer. You force the farmer to the point they can't survive. You put them out of business. Once they're out of business, you claim the subsidies on the land. You haven't got to do anything for it. You haven't got to pay any staff. Once it's drilled, just leave it to get on with it for 5 years.
This is amazing.
And if you roll it in another 5 years, they'll give you more money. And you still haven't got to do nothing because it's already set.
So have the land after you've ripped off good, honest people.
Yeah.
Turn it into being completely useless.
Yeah.
Get paid far more than any farmer could have done, even if you went back, say, for instance, 10 years for it, because you've written the rules. So the taxpayer ends up paying the money that makes the subsidies. The taxpayer ends up going without food because another farm goes down. So he's hungry. The man who's orchestrated this, or the men that's orchestrated this, now own the farm that the taxpayer now has to pay money on, so it does nothing, so that he earns shitloads of money whilst we're all suffering.
Well, we're all starving to death. It clearly said on the Geiger stones that we would get down to 500 million population and we wouldn't be at 8 billion anymore. And people laughed about that and they said, "Oh, it's going to be down to the injections." No, you don't need to.
You starve the
to do is starve people.
Do you remember what happened to Mussolini, don't you? Right now, I've got to be careful what I say here. But at the end, when they realized just how bad it was, the public decided to give it their own justice.
Yeah.
When people get to a level where they've got nothing, they've lost it, and they're starving, they have nothing more to lose. That's when people do some crazy shit. Now, the powers that be expect that the military will protect them or the police will protect them, but this military have family instead of the police. And if you remember the yellow protests where the police over in France just put down their hats and said, crack on. That's exactly what will happen. Now,
I think so.
The MPs at the moment, I don't know if you, they're moaning at the moment because they say they don't feel safe. Well, you shouldn't feel safe.
Yeah.
You at the moment are engineering our demise, and we're not going to like you for it. That's common sense. If you had a word, or if you could get a message out to the MPs, what would be your advice to them?
I'll tell you what. 2 weekends ago, I went to Wellingborough and had the pleasure of meeting Andrew Ridgeon, who's been quite outspoken in Parliament, without a doubt, and had a lengthy 30-minute conversation with him about the farmers' plight. And he's very much behind the campaign, I will say. And Ben Habib was there as well, who's now standing for the Wellingborough seat as an MP. Lovely guy, again, making a big headway to try and support the farmers. But there's very few farmers, very few politicians, that have actually come out openly to support it. Now, that shocks me because my belief is, because of what's been said to me, that probably in May we'll have a general election. If we're going to have a general election pretty soon, I would have said an agenda like we're sitting on at the minute with food instability has to be the biggest thing what could tip a country upside down in a short space of time. We could talk within 24 hours the country could be upside down if they didn't feed the people. Why would you not want to listen to what the public's got to say at this point in time? Because surely as an MP, if you've got the power to go to Parliament and say, listen, we've got to do something about this, we need to pull the supermarkets to heel and we need to get all this out of the way, even if it's only for a window of opportunity to get the election done so they get in for another 5 years. Why would any of those political parties not want to get behind it and give themselves the power to the people and say, well, look, we support the farmers, we're going to come out openly and support this, and we want the public to get behind this campaign and go, and in 3 months' time go, nice little pat on the back for the politician who dealt with that. But none of them are.
There's a darker force behind things. These people who are in positions of power at the moment didn't just get there by chance.
No.
These people are vetted to make sure they're corrupt and they're bent. They're highly oiled. And also there'll be evidence on them that if they ever spoke out, this would find its way into the papers.
Yeah.
And they're very well financially rewarded. And these are the sort of, I don't know how well you are in history. Back in the, I think it was the 50s, a couple of really dodgy people within banking, etc., put an advert out for an odious, slimy, reprehensible, corruptible trainee politician that would sell his soul to the devil. And one Richard Nixon applied for the job. But there are many like him. And these people have no interest in the public. They hold us in contempt. They loathe us. They'll put on the smiles and stuff. But deep down, they serve a darker power. This is international globalism and the people that run that. These people will never do what we're told. The rigging system of the election as well. I mean, you get these people that come into power that do bad things. Take, for instance, Sadiq Khan, right? That is a person that's done no end of bad to London, and he won by 120% of the vote. How do you do that? No, I'm going to say it because it is proved, right? but nobody says anything. And there's many elections that can now be rigged, but it doesn't really matter whether you get Labour or Conservative.
No,
they're two sides, sides of the same coin.
Which Muppet do you want today?
Slow, painful death or quite a fast one. So the only way that you'll affect these people is fear, and they have to fear the people. And in the old days, they used to. So the farmers will be the key to the start of all of this happening. And when the farmers start doing something, other people will come out. Now, you have to hit them financially. Now, if you know, Tony Blair brought about laws so you can't convoy, you can't block fuel depots, you can't do this, that, and the other because it's a criminal offense. But people will be well past that, and they'll just say, "We'll do it anyway." What are you going to fucking do?
I think sadly that's where we're going to end up. We'll get to the point, if I don't know, let's say the population's starving and someone rewards them with the opportunity to go and stand on a picket line. And if you go, I'll feed you, then I think people will probably want to go.
Well, that I hadn't thought of, but food rewards. Say, for instance, if people are starving, here you go. You come and pick it, you get a fruit box. Off you go. Cheers, thanks very much.
Yeah.
That would work really, really well. But what I want to do is when it does happen, I want to actually get out there, shove a microphone in a load of people's faces and say, what are you thinking? How is this going? And etc. Because a lot of people will want to watch that and will actually get honest. Because if you get, let's say, for instance, the BBC or somebody put a microphone in somebody's face, they'll cut and shut it. So you all sound like a bunch of arseholes that are self-serving type of people. If we do it, we won't edit it.
Yeah.
Unless there's any dead air kind of thing. But you'll just go, and then we could just get a long line of you and get you all talking and tell us how it is and all the costs and all the rest of it. And every person will have a separate thought about it and get public support, because I'm happy to go hungry if we can get a result. I'll go hungry for a long while. And it's a bit like when you looked at, say, for instance, the miners' strike. They were happy to go without for a long period of time if they were going to get a result. But unfortunately, they were led by an arsehole.
But there is that, and the other side was no matter what happened, they were going to shut their mines anyway.
Yeah, because we've already agreed with Europe that we were going to buy coal at cheaper prices. He thought had his part to do with this, but we were going to get it cheaper out of places like Portugal.
Do you know? It's interesting. I read Maggie Thatcher's book a few years back, and there's one point in there where she said something really chilling, and this is where it kind of makes you wonder about things. She said, "You may have hated me at the time for what I did, but you'll thank me in the future that I left the coal in the ground to use in the future."
Yeah. And the other thing is they found a massive amount of it off the coast of Wales. It's underground, but at the end of the day, we've got technology to do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But when the time comes, we'll need coal. When it gets real bad, and if say, for instance, common sense prevailed, we got ourselves a right-wing government, which was we preserve Great Britain, right? Our culture, our heritage, our industry. We nationalize stuff like coal. So even if it runs not at a profit, right? You've got people working, you've got coal coming out of our ground, so it hasn't got to do thousands of miles. Green agenda, right? And the thing is, if something goes wrong somewhere else, we don't want to be affected by it. We want to be as self-sufficient as possible. So taking farmers out of the loop, we need to make our own food, everything. So if something goes on somewhere else, I'm all right, Jack. That's the kind of thing.
Well, you've only got to look, Simon. We now get down to the point we produce in this country less than 60% of what we eat. Okay?
Which is dangerous, isn't it?
So 60% of what we eat. So if you stop under net zero, no boats, no planes, no lorries on the roads, whatever else, that reduces that down to we've now only got 60%. Now, under the new stewardship programs, what they want farmers to sign up to, they've got to give up 50% of their farming land in the next year.
Give up to what?
So that takes it down to 30% of the food we've got at the moment.
But what have they got to give it up to? What, to rewilding or this?
Yeah, to grow pretty flowers and daisies and, right? So by year 2, we're down to 15% of the amount of food being produced in the country. And that's only we're talking 24 months away. And
the only thing that will keep these farms afloat is by drinking the Kool-Aid, basically. We're going to crush you and you won't be able to afford to do anything, or give us half your farm.
Or the people back the farmers and rise up in the manner that gets a result for the farmers and the public. At the end of the day, food costs, where they've spiraled out of control in the last few years, are not down to the farm. They're not down to the farmer. They're down to the supermarkets. They're down to the production companies. They're down to the government's rat running of things like bringing in oil and gas, instead of buying it where we were, we'd go and have a war somewhere and mess that up as well. And, so all these costs have gone out of control. That needs to change, and needs to change very, very fast. And I mean really fast. And like we said earlier, take the power away from those who be. Take it away, give the power back to the farmers, give the farmers some cash in their pocket so they can survive. We've got so many issues within the farming side, because the seed companies now predominantly are controlled by big players.
Right.
So even if a farmer wants to grow something, will he be able to get the seed?
And we were going back ages ago trying to buy seed for a person like myself. There was the way they'd engineered it. It was a one-hit thing. right? And and these things that do produce can't reproduce.
No,
so that's been geoed, right?
Yeah.
To make sure that you'll only get 1 year out of it, and if we don't give you any more, it's game over. Now that in itself was we engineered it so it's more resilient.
Yeah. So
absolute rubbish.
If your listeners are listening and on the show, you know what I've got to say here. If they're going to buy seeds to set, now bear in mind we're now coming into the warmer season, so we're now coming into the point after March you can start to sow seeds outside. Okay, so if you're going to buy seeds, look for heirloom seeds. These are old seeds that have never ever been messed about with. I mean, I've got runner bean seeds and broad bean seeds that my granddad gave me when I was 5 years old, and he grew them with me and showed me how to dry them and grow them the next year, show me how to dry some. We'd sell some and keep some and sell some and keep some. And I'm now 56 and I've still got the same, the babies from the seed, from the seed, from the seed, from the seed, you know, 55 years on. So look for heirloom seeds because they're the ones that you can grow year on year on year, and they're not been played about with, you know, they're not genetically modified. If it's got F1 on the packet, don't bloody well buy it. Simple as that. It's been messed about with. It's a GMO food. And
this stuff actually has an effect on us, I'm pretty sure, because I used to be able to eat foods when I was a kid and not a problem. Yeah. I now get bad guts, bad bowel, skin's going mental, and I can't help but think our food's been so badly engineered. This is why I get my food from the butcher, because you buy meat like sausages and stuff like that from, it's called Finest, which is a complete fucking lie. I don't trust. I'm at the stage now where I actually believe there's some nefarious action of trying to make us ill. That's where I'm at, and I believe that you need to be able to trust where you're getting your food from.
I'll just tell you something while I'm on here and before I go. I went to see my butcher the other day, and I was in there, and I was talking to him about New Zealand lamb. Right. And I said, you know, what lamb have you got? He said, oh, I've only got New Zealand. I'm struggling to buy English because it's so much more expensive. So the New Zealand government subsidises the New Zealand lamb, and that's how they produce it and sell so much of it worldwide. But do you know how they get it here? Because I assumed, in my ignorant naivety, I assumed they froze it and shipped it here.
Well, that's what I thought.
No. They send it on containers what are gassed to stop it rotting, and it can take up to 6 months to get here from leaving the farm and the abattoir to going onto our supermarket shelves. And that's 6 months that it's gassed to hold it in limbo so it doesn't rot.
That's rank. Fuck that.
I nearly died. I said to him, I said, that can't be right. He said, I can assure you it is. I said, so what lamb have you got? He said, none.
Yeah, you can have the horrible fucking rotted stuff, or nearly rotted. Oh yeah, but I mean, it's just so.
It's mucked up, isn't it?
you think to yourself, I must be getting this wrong, because they must not know, or they wouldn't do this to us, would they? But the truth is, they would.
Yeah. And they do.
And they're all into reducing the numbers. I mean, our departed Prince Philip was one of these. And so is Boris Johnson's dad. He wants to reduce the numbers, but it's not their type of people. It's the little people, right?
Yeah.
We'll do all sorts of stuff, like starving them and other things we can't talk about on here. And they fucking hate us. And the reason being is like they've got no need for us anymore. Back in the day when you had to work somebody to death and you need many hands on one job, then they needed us, right? But now they've got computers to do all this and machines. They have no use for us. And also, I think they don't want a population of people who will actually get the ump and go after them.
Yeah, you don't want that. I read an article today, funnily enough, about DEFRA. Now, DEFRA is the governing body that oversees all farming. And they are, in my opinion, all but fucking useless. They're a typical government organisation what's been set up by bureaucrats, run by bureaucrats, and they haven't got a clue what they're trying to deliver. And that's just my opinion, right? I can't speak for other farmers. I just find them incompetent. But they put out an article today to say that if you are going to use robotics on a farm, however big the robotics, they will now cover 50% of the cost of you changing over to robotics instead of having staff.
To put the workers out. That's all right until they limit your power, and then what? So you get rid of the staff that could be qualified to do something, right? You get robots in there. Then at some point, when we're all more dependent on robots, they hit you with a power cut, and then you can't produce anything.
Well, you think at the moment, so if, for instance, the farmers were to go out like they have across Europe, if you've got a farmer that's got a massive tractor, and some of these tractors are huge, you know, they're big enough to push tanks over, for God's sake. And there's hundreds of thousands of them across Europe. You know, I don't know how many tanks are left in Europe after the Ukraine war, but, you know, not many, that's for sure. The farmers have the biggest equipment there is to use, without any doubt at all. And it's en masse. Every village will have, across the country, will have 30 or 40 tractors in it. So if you remove that completely, you remove any form of resistance in the future, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, I've just sold a 145. Most people wouldn't have heard of that. A 135 they'd have heard of, but not 145 because they're French. I've just sold it to a subscriber. Cheers, bud. Right, in Northern Ireland. So that's where that's going. But yeah, they just want to take it all away from us. And so eventually we'll just be like these little people living in 15-minute cities, begging them to give us something to eat.
Yeah, please chuck me some more scraps, sir.
Boss, yeah, I'll do anything. And then basically, oh, you want to get fed? Universal income. You go out and work 50 hours a week driving a truck for us at the same rate as that bloke who sits on his ass and does nothing. No, fuck that.
One thing I would say is if people have been following the campaign on social media, do me a favour. So here's the things I would like to get out tonight, Simon, if I can.
Yeah.
The public understand what us as the farmers are going through is, from the government side, absolutely suicidal, not just for the farms, for the general public as well. So we want to raise the awareness of the no farmers, no food. Grab the logo off, you know, if you see it on social media, go find it on Twitter, whatever you have to do. Stick it all over social media so people just start questioning what it's all about. Stop supporting the damn supermarkets and stop buying all that filth what they sell. Get out and get some real food. Get back to basics with your food. Go and see your butcher, your baker, your greengrocer. And when the time comes, should there be a requirement for the farmers to go out, please bear with them and support them while they do what they need to do. You know, and I can't emphasize that enough. So from my side, you know, that's my whole desire of being on here tonight is about.
No farmers, no us. That's the simple, that's the basics of it.
Yeah.
Without us being fed, we die. Who feeds us? Farmers. They're the ones that can do the stuff that we can't. They can turn mud and a few bits and bobs into something that grows, or they can rear an animal until it can be slaughtered to give us meat. And I'm quite a carnivore, so but I do like veg. So yeah, so we have to, as a matter of self-preservation, support the farmers. That's the way I see it. So
yeah.
So yeah, so if you see them out there, give them a hand, but also get out there and protest with them, because this is more important at the moment than, say, for instance, the immigration thing, because that's deadly to us. But not being able to eat, it's a list of priorities. Food first, then we'll deal with the rest of it.
It's interesting. The meeting I was at today, you know, there was a lot of people there who have done the yellow boards on the roundabouts and things, talking about several subjects, as we know, that we won't mention. And I said to him, if you take all of the subjects together, what you spoke about over the last 4 years, add them all together and look at how much public support there was for those things, it doesn't come to 1% of the problem what is about to occur. You know, and so talking to them today, the yellow boards are 100% behind what's going on and are now sort of starting to change what's on the boards, ready for what's coming. And I just cannot express enough how much stock up with food, because you're going to need it.
Yeah, basically.
No food. I don't know if you've seen the video footage what came out of Dover yesterday.
No.
You're not seeing that yet. Okay, so a lot of the farmers in Dover direction yesterday actually took the tractors and blockaded Dover port off.
Have it.
So that's, whilst it is obviously all to do with the No Farming, No Food campaign, that was a separate issue because they're locally campaigning against the fact that cheap imports of food are destroying the business down south. So this is, you know, where they grow the early food in the year. So the new potatoes what come through, they're slaughtered to the ground because the French are 2 weeks ahead of them. So they slaughter them with cheap produce. And, you know, it just goes on and on and on, and no support from the government.
And then now talking about
backing the British farmers. Sorry,
they're now talking about doing less checks on the food as well, and they're going to do it 20 miles inland. And this is going to be a massive problem to getting bad food that is not up to our standard. How that is, I don't know the full details, but they are engineering our illness or our hunger or, I mean, famine in a first world country. It's a potential, isn't it, with this?
Well, we're not a first world country anymore, are we? We know that.
You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
all over. I mean, we're not what we were, and I don't know any country that is what it was. And the standard of living, in some ways, is coming down and down and down. Because if you look at people nowadays, they're far more unhealthy and unhappy than they were in the 80s. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 56, so for me, I was in my, I'd gone through my latter teens in the 80s, and we genuinely had a fucking awesome time. Now I see the kids of me being at that age, even my own son, God alive, they just like want to play fucking computers all day, and it does my head in. They don't get outside, they don't get no fresh air, they don't go and see their mates. Oh, have you seen any of your mates? Oh, I've been chatting to them online today. Why? Go down the pub and have a beer with them,
But kill the pub, because that's where men get together and talk about the problems and face their problems and deal with the problems.
Absolutely. You can see, when you look at it, you can see how all these things have been squeezed in, can't you?
Yeah, to make our life, they want to make everybody isolated.
To keep us safe, Simon. It's to keep us safe.
Well, obviously, yeah. I mean, the latest round of the fourth thing that's not entirely great, that was all about keeping us safe, wasn't it? And some of the things we had to wear so that we could go out, they work well as well. We can't go down that road, but we all know where we're going with this one. But at the end of the day,
this is the only thing I wear when I go out.
Well, you're probably more likely to keep safe with that fucker on than some of the other things they wanted to put in your direction. But it's bonkers. And the only thing that you can take from this is they're trying to kill us. That's where I'm at.
That way. I mean, if anyone can prove me, other than what you've just said, can prove to me that that's not the case, I'll apologise to anybody in power against anything I've said. But I don't genuinely believe that anyone can prove me wrong.
I don't think that you can either. So on that one, what I would say is if you can obviously you get anybody else who wants to come on and talk about this, because people are liking it. We've got 1,152 people watching, so
awesome.
On a 10,000 sub channel, people are interested. And what we'll probably do, because I've just had a suggestion, that what we might do is cut this segment down and then put it out as a video as well, because that would work. But if you've got anybody else who wants to come on, we'll get them on, get them talking about it, their side of things, because I want to be ahead of the curve. I want people that at least subscribing here to be having a food in for a kickoff.
Yeah.
And after that, obviously, I want them to be on the side of the farmers to help the farmers in every way. So if the police are coming in to try and take somebody away, get in the way of the police, let the other person get away. This kind of stuff. And I know I shouldn't say that, but this is about keeping us fed. So,
this is about us absolute survival of the human race.
Yeah.
And I don't care what anybody else says. That's how I see it. This is honestly about survival of the human race.
And it's amazing that people would want to kill their own in such a fucking crude manner. I mean, mind you, they've tried all sorts. All right, well, look, I gotta say, because obviously you're busy bloke, I gotta say thank you ever so much for coming on.
It's been a pleasure.
And if you've got anything else you want to come back and tell us about, I can get you on anytime you want. So it's
what I'll do is if I should hear, I mean, I don't know that I would, but if I should hear that there is going to be a tractor protest, I'm sure to drop you a message and let you know where and when that's likely to be.
Yeah, and I can get down there and try and get some support.
Yeah.
Well,
that's pretty cool.
Lovely. All right, well, I'm going to say thank you very much. And you know how to get out there. You got the little red button at the bottom, I believe. So I'll say thank you very much, and I'll see you soon. Right. That's brilliant. What an excellent man. Wow. It's amazing, though, isn't it? I mean, right, let me see if I can get the right one. No, that's definitely not the right one. Let's try that. What if I do that? Will that work? No, that doesn't work. Do you know what? I've had a gut full of this fucking computer. If anybody's interested, it's getting that computer this Friday is getting stripped of Windows 11, and the bloke, he's a computer engineer, he's going to come around, put Windows 10 on it, go through, fine tune it, and we're hoping, right? We are hoping that That thing then might actually run as it's meant to, and then I don't have to run 2 computers and fuck about. Having said that, I heard that this is a thing. Right, let's see if, right, that's working at the right speed. And if I did this, try that. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that working at the same? No, it's not, is it? Fuck it. Whatever. So anyway, there it is. Right, now, do we do some stories or do we do the calling? Please get Paz on Rev. Paz works on Saturday night. I can't get him on. That is the thing. Right, banners. Let's go to that. So if you want to call in and talk about the topics that we've just been talking about, there it is. Get stuck in. Banners, brands. Let's have a look. What else am I supposed to be sticking out? Like, share, and subscribe. No, that ain't right. So let's try it. No, that ain't right. So, do you know, I'm quite tired tonight. Let's try that. There you go. Right. If I do that, that's much better because you get it all up there. So we've got 1,162 people watching. That is great, especially on this. Dave, let's push Dave. So some of you may have been lucky or unlucky enough, I'd say lucky, to watch Big Dave Green, the plant, have his own live stream yesterday and get guests on. And Dave's a bit raw. Okay. Dave doesn't give a fuck. And Dave was giving it both barrels. To be honest, I don't know how long Dave will last, but Dave has a YouTube channel. And I don't suppose anybody in here could actually put it in the chat. That would be great. And then I can keep posting it. Hello.
Oh.
How you doing?
I'm saying, I've been watching you a few weeks, Rose. Now, I am 35, yeah, not 50, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Rose. I'm telling everybody.
You're breaking up. Wait a second. Let me see if I can sort this out. I fucking hate this computer. Give us 2 seconds, mate.
It's all right.
Hang on. Right, go again. I'll just have to. I'll have to fucking put up with it because otherwise I've got to turn it all off and turn it all back on again. That'll take too long. But go on. What were you saying, buddy?
Yeah. So, 2008, right? I had to take either a pay reduction, yeah, or lose job. Right? So we took pay reduction, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But with the pay reduction, yeah, last 2 years, right? So I started looking into the banking system, everything, yeah. So like BP, right? BP invested £20 billion to Russia, yeah, into gas in 2014, right? What the fuck should be investing £20 billion to a country that you're going to war?
Exactly that, because it's a fake. Mate, 2 seconds. I'm just going to try something because I can't hear it properly. So I'm going to disconnect the Bluetooth and reconnect it. You'll still be there. Don't go anywhere. All right, let's try this. You fucking bag of shit. I hate this computer. I fucking do. Right. Let's see if we can connect up again. And if we do, hopefully that pop-in will be gone. Right. You still there, bud? Right. Yeah, this fucking thing ain't connected, mate. Bear with. I lose my shit with this computer. Sorry, mate. Bear with. Fucking wanky bag of shit. Sorry about it, everyone. You buy this fucking kit. It's meant to do one thing and it never fucking does. And I get in a guts full of it. Bear with. Right. You still there, buddy? Right. Plan B. Don't buy a Rodecaster, by the way. Don't fucking buy them. They're shit. Road, if you're watching this, you sell fucking shit. I can't do this. Hello, mate. You have to bear with, all right?
That's okay. No problem.
Let's try something else. Just bear with a sec, mate. An absolute ass. Right, I think they can hear us now. Let us know if you can hear us, people there. Yeah, because I had to turn the roadcaster off a second there and turn it back on. This thing thought we were muted. So anyway, right. Hopefully you can hear. Have we got one in the comments? You're on now. Brilliant. Okay, right. Go ahead, sir. Sorry about that. Completely useless.
Excellent. Right. Well, as I was saying, yeah. Good evening, Simon. This is following up a little bit, on the farmer thing.
Mm-hmm.
I did you hear that the government are now giving passing a law so the police can arrest protesters who wear face masks.
I did hear that
on demonstrations.
Yes.
I mean,
I think it's also something to do with the fact that obviously you got all these thugs running around all the time, all masked up because it's the latest thing, and they're doing criminality, and you can't see who they are. So I think that could have something to do with it. Although
I think it's been in the news over the last couple of days, and I sort of picked up on it. I was just reading the government website. Would you mind if
help yourself?
I read you this out. It's not very long.
No, carry on.
But it's very interesting what the government has to say. They announced the new laws will crack down on dangerous disorder, following warnings from police chiefs that some protesters are using face coverings to conceal their identities, not only to intimidate the law-abiding majority, but also to avoid criminal convictions. Whilst police already have powers to ask individuals to remove these at designated protests, where police believe criminality is likely to occur, this new offence will empower officers to arrest individuals who disregard their orders, with those who flout the rules facing a month behind bars and a £1,000 fine. Well, that's just the start of this.
Well, they want to make protesting illegal, don't they? Right? Because
that seems to me. But are they going to arrest the Muslims?
No. They get a pass. All right. You can't.
Of course they are.
They are the protected species, right? So you can't well, you're not meant to question them. I always do because I don't give a shit. But there's one rule for thee and not for me, or something like that, isn't it?
Well, you can understand. Are they going to arrest Antifa, who do this all the time?
No, because they work on behalf of the system to come out, and anybody who comes out with any real credible issues, they brand them at whatever is, like a racist or a homophobe or a bigot or
whatever.
Call it. You just take your insult, put it in there, and hope not hate, which is hate not hope, will come out and do it. So they're making laws so that you just have to take what they're doing, otherwise they're going to nick you. And it's like, do you remember China, where they would come out and protest with a mask on? They weren't meant to, but they knew that. And there's facial recognition out there, but there's also body recognition, which will know what it'll do is it'll see a person, the way they walk. And being as they've been through the system, they've got the technology already in China, that if you covered your face completely, they'd know who you are by your walk, by some sort of barometric.
I think, and your eyes even, I think.
Your eyes are better than any fingerprint. But it's like your voice. Nobody realizes this, that our computers have the ability to barometrically check 100 different things and know, even up to stupid stuff like your bone density, what gender you are. Obviously, even if you try to voice change, they can work out your height by the resonance in your voice and some crazy things. So the system has a way to be able to track you from here to wherever you go and back, no problem. Well, unless you've got one eye and you've been throwing acid around and they can't find you, obviously.
Yeah, but Simon, for some reason, the Metropolitan Police, they're unable to find the alkali man.
They would have got him out of there. The thing is, right?
They think it's the last thing I heard. He drowned in the Thames, in the River Thames.
No, well, shit floats in the Thames, doesn't it? So I don't think he'd have drowned. But I'll be honest, that boy would have probably got himself covered up as something and made his way out of there. I don't believe
or hidden in the mosque, perhaps.
Yeah, well, through a network of mosques, and obviously there's a lot of very, very, very fast taxi drivers, right, that would move him from point A to point B without any problem at all. So,
right,
he could be in London and being looked after, or he could be up north, or they could have even got him out of the country. It's not a problem. Well, I mean, he's done the work of Allah, hasn't he? You know what I mean?
Well, he has, yeah.
And it's not the first time he tried it, is he? So I would suggest that he is a soldier.
Is it 14 virgins you get, I think?
Well, apparently it's more than that, but they didn't all say that they were women. That's apparently not a problem. But let's be honest, with their culture, you might be hard pushed to find X amount of virgins, given the fact of how freely they like to show their appreciation of females without the want. What is it they said? 9 out of 10 people love gang rape, isn't it? You know what I mean? But
I know.
But it is. It is what it is.
Carry on. Right. To carry on my article, because there is actually some good news here. I read on this government webpage. It says flares and pyrotechnics will also be banned. Well, that's not a bad thing. The measures will be introduced in the criminal justice bill. This is the good bit. Will make climbing on war memorials a specific public order offence, carrying a 3-month sentence and a £1,000 fine. This comes after recent incidents where individuals have broken away from large protests and scaled national monuments, demonstrating brazen disrespect to those who have given their lives for this country.
Muslims.
Well, that is, at least the government's doing something right. Do you remember there was the Royal Artillery monument? They climbed on that in the corner of Hyde Park.
Yeah.
Not so long ago.
And painted it up. Yeah.
So good. So that's some good news.
Yeah.
No, and then it goes on a little bit about Home Secretary James Cleverly. Recent protests have seen a small minority dedicated to causing damage and intimidating.
So why don't they name this small minority? That would be good. Why don't they have the backbone to say Islam comes out and damages shit, because Islam, that's what it does. Now, when you've come from a third world shithole, you don't suppose you mind turning this place into a third world shithole. But we really don't want that because we quite like our country and we don't want it to look like some fucking landfill, which is kind of what it looks like. So anyway, I mean, this thing, Simon, this thing, if you're wearing a whatever they call it, niqab or whatever, they won't take that off.
Yeah,
they won't. It's to stop British people covering their face up and affecting some sort of change through protest, and they want to be able to nick every fucking one of us that comes out.
I totally agree, Simon. I totally agree. That's what's behind it. We know that, but they're putting it out on their website. Look, you can look it up on gov.uk. This is better for the public, and we have to. James Clever says, "Oh no, we believe in free speech, but there's certain things you can't do, But there are certain things that some people can do, and other people can't do." And this is what's about. But anyway, Simon, thank you for having me on.
No problem at all.
I just wanted to bring that up because I thought this will go back to the farmers thing, because if the farmers start revolting in this country big time in England, they're going to be faced with these laws.
We're on a losing wicket at the moment if we are law abiding, because they own all the laws.
And they will change them, as I say, one rule for thee and another for me.
Exactly. So it's like, what do we do? Behave ourselves and lose completely, or run a risk?
No, we have to protest. We have to protest.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, it wouldn't stop me. I don't give a fuck. And what happens? What's worse, being put in prison for a short while or us being starved to death? It's not really much of a choice.
Well, exactly. Well, there'll be no
no
food in prison. There'll be no food in prison.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're more likely to get fed in prison if you're, especially if you convert. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, we're fucked, totally and utterly fucked. Anyway, there it is. So, right. Well, look, I'll let the next caller get in. Hopefully, that guy that I accidentally cut off because my phone went shit. Hopefully, he'll call back. I'm really sorry about that, buddy. I didn't cut you off for any other reason that I was trying to sort this computer out, and it's all right. It's a bad day. But anyway, if you want to call back in again, that would be great.
Thank you. Lovely to speak to you. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, sir. Thank you very much. Cheers.
All right. We'll speak to you soon.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye for now.
You have a lovely, lovely voice. We get all sorts of people in here. It's not just what you might think. We get them all. And it's funny because the channel's growing. We're the main channel, which we can't live stream on for obvious reasons, I wonder if that had anything to do with it. That's at 93,000 at the moment. So that's growing. The Rev on Iran is growing. Dave Green, that's my plant, by the way. Here's the link. Just putting it in the chat now. Go and subscribe, please. It's fucking Larry in there. Let's just say that. Hello. How you doing?
Is that Simon?
Yeah, I can hear me in the back. You've got the live stream going. If you could just pause that'd be great, because it'll get confusing for you.
Right, it's off now, Simon.
Norris, how you doing?
Fine, yourself?
Stressful, mate. Everything's going wrong tonight.
Look, I've only got a few things to say. Don't worry about your computer, because that'll get fixed. And all the people who follow you, they'll follow you come what may. Trust me, if I had to sit here for an hour waiting for you to get that fixed, I would sit here quite happily, sit here for an hour. So don't worry about it. People are backing you.
It's frustrating, though, isn't it? You know what I mean? This is meant to run relatively well, and this doesn't happen to a lot of other more professional YouTubers. However, it is what it is. I mean, I'm a lorry driver and not a tech person.
Well, very briefly, I know the callers want to get in, so I won't be too long. I am Trevor, the old boy who drove the 8-wheelers. Remember we had a chat?
Yeah.
And you just mentioned, on a slightly lighter note now, if you just bear with me, you mentioned Dave the plant, but what happened to Trevor the plant?
Well, Trev's on the windowsill there. But Trev,
all right.
Right, so that was Big Dave Green. That was the one that first started debating. But we've had to change Dave's voice because we found out actually he hails from India, or at least the plant does. Trevor's over there on the windowsill growing hugely. But what we did was we brought in people yesterday. So we had a potato from Ireland in, and we're working on giving Dave, because it was just all you could see was just Dave and his bottle of scotch and Jack Daniels, right? So what we've worked on giving Dave some eyes and a mouth so that it looks a little bit more, but Dave has his own voice. And the potato was quite funny because we've worked on that today. So his eyes and his mouth are working, he's underground. And what we're talking about on there is sort of stuff we can't touch here. And it was really quite naughty, actually. I liked it. And Dave is, well, he's a free spirit. He dislikes everything equally, so there's no prejudice there. But it was an interesting stream that was semi-bizarre, but we gained over 250. Well, actually, now it's over 300 and some odd subscribers in one live stream. So obviously people liked it and they were laughing. You've got to look at the comments. But so Dave will be doing regular stuff and touching those topics that I can't. So, yeah. And Dave is spicy.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm a Trevor. I've phoned you before. Do you remember I said my daughter likes you?
This is where I went red in the face. Yeah, I'll try not to at the moment.
Well, I'm not going to push it any further, but she still likes you.
Oh, bless her. Hello.
She's 45 and she's a nice looker.
She's younger than me.
She's on her own and she's a nice looker. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, I'll go red again.
Anymore. She saw you again the other night. She said, "Oh, that's yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, that is who it is. Yes, okay."
I got red.
Anyway, Simon, I'm going to let somebody else come on there now, and don't worry about your computer. We'll all stick by you. Trust me.
Cheers, boss.
And we'll stick by you. And if the farmers protest,
I'm going to get out there with them.
Yeah, and so am I as well.
Excellent.
As old as I am.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Simon. I'm going to sign off now.
All right, buddy. You take care, right?
And you take care of yourself. I mean, you take care of yourself.
I will do, bud. Thanks a lot, mate. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Every time I go red-faced on that one. Bless. Oh, there's a thing. Simon's in. Go on, boy. Woohoo. Cheers. Dave. Another Dave. Dave, there's a Dave there. Let's have a little look at the comment. Rev, you've pulled. Oh, yes. Get in there, Si. Nice bloke. Yeah. Find Rev a wife. Look, this is not a hashtag. Rev's getting married. I'm getting married in the morning. Rev has a wife. Polly Walnuts. I do not have a wife. I have a plant. I have plants. Yeah, anyway. So, what have we got? Let's just go through the comments for it. I will hire a tractor if need be. Do you know, I just fucking sold one, but it needed restoration. So, it's going to a good home and it's going to get restored. So, let us have a look. Where were we? I need to look for Rev on a... No, Rev on what's the matter with this fucking thing? I'm going to change channel a second so that I can see. Fuck me. Dave is up to 43 subscribers. Get in, Dave. Let's go to your channel. There you go. Right. I'm going to put that over there. I want to try and get up to 500 subscribers tonight. So we're at 403. Let's see how many of you can help me. 500 subscribers. I don't ask much, but I'll tell you what, you will get your money's worth out of this. I know you're not paid, but you will get a laugh out of this. This is something that we're working on to make you laugh. We're going to give you the information, but we're going to take the piss brutally. And I mean fucking brutally. Can you remember how much fun it was back on, say, for instance, 10 years ago on here, back when there wasn't all these bloody rules and we could just go and have the crack? People have forgotten how to do that. Well, because Dave is only at 400 and some odd subscribers, if Dave lost his channel, it'd be like, that's unlucky. We'll do it again. This is a bit of a different thing. So let's see how Dave's getting on. That's 403. Fucking 430. You fucking legends. Go on, sons and girls. Is that right, sons and daughters? That was, remember that American shit? Not American, Australian. My mother used to watch that. Sons and daughters. I was like, fucking turn it in, will you? Anyway, we're going up. I like this. Do you know, I get so much excitement out of a little channel like this. Your first 50 subs were the most exciting fucking subscribers. You go around to everybody you knew, come on, give us a sub on it, just to get you off the ground. And it building up a little channel, it's so exciting. It really is. 447. All we need is another 53. There you go. Right, we got a call. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Not too bad, mate. How are you?
Oh, mate, it's been one of those nights, but after a couple of beers, and if this tech doesn't crash again, we should be all right. But it probably will.
I've been watching. You've been struggling, mate. You've been proper
mate.
struggling.
Honestly, you're just like banging your head against the cunt. What are you doing? Yeah, it is what it is, but fuck, it really is fucking stressful.
Class.
Yeah. Huh. Well,
class.
Oh, by the way, have you subscribed to Dave? You need to subscribe to Dave. We're just saying, right?
I will. So, what David? What's the what's the name of his little channel?
It's Big Dave Green, right?
Big Dave Green, right? I'll get on it as soon as I finish this call with you, mate.
It's my ever-growing plant with an attitude problem. I mean, he don't give a fuck who he upsets, right? And literally yesterday, Dave didn't have any problems with tech. You're a bit of a prick, aren't you, Dave? Dave didn't have any problems with tech. I do, but not Dave. So anyway, we just, for the first time, we thought we'd see how it went. So we invited on quite a few other YouTubers, and we just ripped fuck off anything and everything, including the woman, man, balls in the fridge thing.
Good.
And
I like the sound of that.
The espionage pigeon that did 6 months on its head before it got released because they realized it was just a fucking pigeon, and many other stories. So we were just, and people were asking Dave about his beliefs on stuff, and yeah, we won't repeat them, will we, Dave? So
what was his name? Big Dave what?
Big Dave Green, right?
Big Dave Green, yeah.
He's a fucking monster. I can't see him being about
Is
forever.
Sorry.
He's a bit of a fucking. Let's see how we do. Let's see if we can get over the fucking. We got 460, 497. Come on, you fuckers! Excellent.
Yeah.
Listen, I promise you, you won't regret it. So we got 1,000 people watching at the moment. All you got to do is click on the link in the fucking description or in the chat, and you'll be there. Anyway, sir, you rang in, so let's talk about what you want to talk about.
Right, I was wondering what you were talking about, mate.
Well, earlier.
Yeah, let's have a chat. What you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about, mate?
Well,
you sit here all night chatting away. God bless you. To people and listening to what they want to chat about. So, what do you want to chat about, mate?
What makes us happy?
What makes us happy? All right.
Because I think we've forgotten how to do it.
I've hit this on the nail, mate. I've hit this on the nail because I've suffered with it in the past, right? It's having enough money to survive, mate. Having just enough money to survive and get by, and it keeps you happy. The moment you're skint and you're struggling for bills and stuff like that, the fucking depression, it just comes on you, mate.
It's stress as well.
And everything's doom and gloom. Everything is doom and gloom when you've got no coin, right? Everything is doom and gloom, mate.
It is. It's real stress. It
is.
I spent most of my life broke, right? I was lazy in the early days, and then I'd run up debt and stuff like that. And mental health, it would get you down, so you'd have time off work, and it was a vicious circle. And I had to man up, basically. That was my mate. Just say, fucking man up. You got your fucking health. I said, I got depression. That's not health. That's mental health. You've got your physical health. Your mind is turning you into a bitch. Grow up, get through it, struggle. You'll get through today, and tomorrow's another day, kind of stuff. And so went through that. And then one of the biggest cures of my mental health was realizing that you haven't actually failed, right? You're not shit. You're not a failure. There's something worse and more dark out there. We've all been told we have to do this, and we have to behave like that, and we have to aim for this, and we have to, which is all shit. And it was engineered by a bunch of cunts that want to use us as little workers, whatever you want to call it, right? When you get past that part, right, and then you realize that it's not me, and you start looking into it, you get the anger, right? Because after the misery comes the anger, and then you get the black pill. Once you got past the black pill, you actually think, well, maybe we can do something about this. You find some sort of purpose, and this was one of the biggest things that worked for me. But after that, I managed to stay at work long enough to actually get past the part of debt, and then I started putting a bit of money, and then you'd have a relapse, and then you'd be back to near enough nothing again. And I have a small cushion. It's not much. I could probably last 2 months without work now. That's it.
Yeah.
but I've never had that before, right? And this is why I had to sell the pickup at a loss, right? So I've just sold a 2010, really nice condition, but there's something wrong with it. Couldn't work it out, and I sold it for 3,200 because I could have spent another $3,000 on it with people guessing and it not be fixed. So I just had to cut my losses. Didn't like it, but I feel better now, right? But little things that make me happy are like my daughter's happy, right? I get to see her tomorrow. That I look forward to. This part here, when I'm talking to people like yourself, this makes me happy because I'm talking to normal people, not these fucking brain dead drones that wander around the place with their eyes shut. I went in the shop and I was talking to the female.
Do you know what?
Go on.
I actually, I've got like Netflix. I don't do the BBC. I stopped paying my license years ago. For moral reasons of what's gone on in the past with them. So I cut me wire. I cut the wire in coming into the house. I've cut it outside. I've left it there for them. I contacted them legitimately and said, look, I don't watch the telly anymore. I've cut my wire. I invited them round to come and check, and they said, right, okay. They never sent anyone. They send me a letter every couple of years saying, are you still needing a license? And I just answer them politely back, no, thank you. I don't watch the telly. I don't watch BBC. But I've got like Netflix and stuff like that sort of thing. And even that now, I don't want to watch anything false. I'd rather put on YouTube and watch guys like yourself or other guys on different topics, or girls on just look what's going on in the world, because the television is just, I can't stand anything false and scripted now. I don't know what it is.
It's like this. Would you stand in a pub with somebody continually lying and laughing in your face?
No, that's it. No, you wouldn't, would you? You wouldn't. You wouldn't. But it's all the rot. I tell you something. There's a little story, right? When I first got rid of my license. Okay, I was watching Emmerdale. Well, Emmerdale was on the house, and I was forced to watch it, sort of thing. And I think it was Kane Dingle was having an affair behind Moira's back. Right? This is a true story, right? And I was like, oh, do you know what? I can't watch all this, blah, blah, blah. Got rid of all of that, stopped watching it. And about 2 years later, I think it was, about 2.5 years later, I was in Morrison's, and by the till, they've got all these TV Quick magazine things, right? And I walked past it, and I looked at it 2 years later, and it said Kane Dingle having an affair behind Moira's back on the bloody thing. Well, I was like, do you know what? I heard that 2 years ago.
It's the same
recycled
it's the
same old rot.
It's showing you that relationships won't last. Don't trust. They're going to do this. Why? Be on your own. Be miserable. Let's have 2 hours as we can earn income.
It's mad.
My mother, right, stayed in, right? She didn't go out. She had depression, right? And she had lupus and stuff. And she could have done more, but she didn't, right? Now, totally spotless house, right? Got to say that. You couldn't do fuck all in it. But when we went shopping, two things she got was the radio times and the TV times. Now, I couldn't see the fucking point, but apparently there was different, right? And then she'd circle what she wanted to watch, right? And she'd plan a fucking week out. And then you got to the point where you could actually program the recorder to record at different times, right? So she'd set all that up, but she would go through every one of these. So she wouldn't watch, I think actually in the end, EastEnders, Coronation Street. I'm not sure about Emmerdale, right?
Yeah.
But then she'd do the omnibus on the weekend, and then she'd watch all this other shite. And I'm thinking, you're not a stupid woman, but you're filling your head full of utter fucking crap. What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
But she was happy to lock herself away from the real world and live in that reality. She took every medication the doctor gave her.
It's human nature, isn't it? It's human nature. People get into a routine, and that becomes your life. And sitting in watching these soaps is all part of it, isn't it? I think a lot of people got out of that when we were in lockdown, sort of thing, because you couldn't go anywhere and you couldn't do anything that people, all their lives had done every weekend or so, like go and watch a football match or go and do something, and then they wasn't allowed to do it. And then I suppose a lot of them after that got used to not doing it and then didn't bother going back to it when they when all restrictions were sort of lifted. I noticed a lot of that.
Mate, I mean, the lockdown was really, really, really bad for people.
Yeah.
1 minute, I'm just having a look. My channel's called Dave Green, not Big Dave Green. I got to sort that out. Sorry. Anyway, 1 minute, just bear with. But yeah, I basically seen a lot of people's mental health go down because they stayed in, and I can't help but think that that was part of the point.
Yeah.
It's fucking sinister, really. It is.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest. I had a friend that stayed with me because she was really affected by this. Because to be fair, she was used to going out and coffee mornings and teas with her friends and all the rest of it, and living that kind of lifestyle. And she couldn't do it. And it really fucked her head up. And I had to say, look, this isn't forever, you know, come around here, we'll talk, you know, and all the rest of it. But how many people didn't have that? How many people were stuck in on their own?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've just re-amended Dave Green's channel, so it's now Big Dave Green, because that's what I always say it was. So people are going, oh, I've only seen Dave Green. Where's Big Dave Green? So that was all my fault as well. Yeah, I am completely fucking inept. But anyway, with happiness, I'm going to do something within the next month that I've been wanting to do for about 27 years. I've managed to sell 2 things, and I'm going to sell the trailer, and I'm going to have enough money to buy myself a Capri, which is something I promised myself for fucking ever. And
a resto project or
it's going to be a drivable project that you'll do bits and bobs to. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And I probably will cry when I get it, right, out of happiness. And right, it's not much, but I've been.
Do you know what, mate? You're not the only one. My best mate, Andy, he's just gone and bought himself a Mark 1 Golf.
Rare. Fuck me, that must have cost him a few quid.
I think he paid about 6 for it. About 6 grand, I think he said.
That's really cheap.
Yeah. It probably needs a few bits doing to it, like, but actually finding one's a thing, isn't it?
To be honest, yeah, it's a 2.8 injection. I'm probably going to go for. Somebody was asking in here. I've got to be honest. If you found yourself a Mark II Escort in good condition that was a 2-door, you'd be looking at 30 grand.
Yeah. So, it just so happens that my brother-in-law's got a Mark 1 Escort, mate, and he's restoring it this very day.
Mate, that's an investment. That is to say, unless the EU get their way, because they want to bring in this rule that basically if you've bought a classic, or if you've got a car over 15 years old, because Jeff Buys Cars did something on this, and I looked at it, I was like, really? That's fucking bonkers. But if it needs any significant work, they want you to scrap it. They're going to make it illegal for you to repair it. Well, fuck, by the way, fuck you, right? I would like to buy a rotted out shell and restore it back to just to be fixed. I'd like to pay for that just to say fuck you and do it my way. I'm not going to play your rules, and none of the rest of us. And many more people like me, because there's thousands of YouTubers like me that are talking about this, will educate the rest of the people to not do what you're telling them. So fuck you. Yes. Yeah. I'm just venting a bit there. Yes. But no, I detest them. I detest the whole system. I know they're out to hurt us. I know they hate us. Fine. We hate you back. That's where I am.
Oh, it wasn't them. It always has been.
Somebody said it on Morris Marina. I tell you what, I'll take the piss, but those things are going to be rare as fuck at the moment, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, you don't see many of them. You don't see many of them now.
I remember.
Yeah, the Moggy Miners, yeah.
Yeah, well, the Marina, the Miner, the fucking, all of those ones. Do you remember the one that...
Oh, the Marina, I remember the Marina, actually. Yeah, I remember them.
Can you remember the Allegra? Yeah. If you jacked it in the middle with the doors open, the rear windscreen popped out. Yeah. That's a fucking design fault there, isn't it?
What was that one that they had, the Maxi? It was huge.
That was built, right? And they had to use the doors off the Land Crab because they were trying to save money. Otherwise, it would have been different. But I knew
the Maxis were absolutely huge in the back. They were like a...
Yeah, you could take a few bodies in there, but they were like 1750cc engines, and only they would motor on all right for what they were. And I think some of them had 5 speeds, so they were quite posh, weren't they?
Yeah, they were a cracking little car. Then I think one of my granddad had it. Yeah, one of my granddads had them a Maxi like that years ago. It was a cracking little car.
My mate's parents had a beige one. Remember beige?
That was
and wasn't it the beige, HLE or something like this? You know, girt posh. But I used to look at all the fan gear on the front with these little pull-out things and turn-up wibbables, and you're like, it's like a mini, isn't it? Yes.
Class.
Does anybody here remember having a mini and having the squirter button on the floor, right? Along with the headlight.
I did, yeah. I bought one as a resto years ago. When I was about 20, it was an old one, with a push button start on the floor.
That was it, right down here. The gear stick about 14 foot long.
They failed me MOT. When I took him for the MOT. He failed the MOT. So what's it failed on, mate? He said, "You wash a bottle." He said, "You haven't got a washer bottle." I said, "It's that little pump, and there's like a little rubber pump on the dashboard, wasn't there?"
Yeah,
And
that
you
little
had to
thing in the
pump
middle,
and
isn't it? It pumped like hell, wouldn't you? And a couple of squirts pop up. It was useless,
Yeah,
but that was the way it was
failed me
designed.
LOT for that.
Can anybody remember the little indicator on the end of the stalk, the little green flashing
Yeah.
light? And
Yeah,
you had a
yeah.
steering wheel so
Yeah, I
wide.
had that one as well. Yeah,
We had one of them.
yeah, little,
The slashy windows that went sideways like this, and you could either have the big fucking thing at the bottom of the door there, or you had like a snick. And it literally was, if the car got like sort of widened a bit or whatever in an accident, the doors would pop open because they were like a door on a house. Fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
And obviously the filler was proud of the bodywork, so that would shear off the fucking the cap, so that would be pissing out. Lethal. Right over, as somebody pointed out, an ignition source, which was a light, which probably would have been smashed during the accident. They were fucking lethal. And do you remember when they tried to get like, I don't know, 10 or 15 people into a Mini?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
But they were thin back then. You wouldn't do it now, would you? What, 3 fucking land whales and that's your lot in it? I remember the joke. How'd you get 5 Indians in a Mini? And it was like 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and Mrs. Gandhi in the ashtray.
that was it. Yeah, I can remember that.
But that's going back a bit.
Who makes these up?
People that wouldn't get away with it these days. But it's not necessarily racist, is it? Because at the end of the day, it's just a known family that had a cremation in the family. But there you go. Yeah. So, well, wasn't Mrs. Gandhi assassinated, I believe? So
I think loads of them have been, haven't they? There's been loads of them, and they've all been bloody.
It's a little bit unsettled over there, you could have said.
Yeah. As bad as the Kennedy story, isn't it? Really?
Fuck that! I tell you what, if a Kennedy offers you a lift, right, don't take it. If a Kennedy says, I tell you what, I think I'm going to be running for election, steer clear of the cunt because there's going to be shots fired everywhere. So,
don't, because you'll have JFKers coming on.
Well, this is it. I mean, the first Kennedy, he went to war and got shot out of the sky. That was him wiped out. He was meant to be president. And originally it was Bootlegger Joe, but Bootlegger Joe got to get a bit close to the Nazis for reasons. And he blotted his copybook while he was over here in England. And that was his chances of running scuppered. So he then put all of his effort into JFK, which they used to call Jack. He obviously made it in there after they bribed the mafia to fiddle the voting thing, which they did, thinking that they would go easy on organized crime, not knowing that actually Bootlegger Joe was completely different to his sons, and his sons actually fancied doing some good work. So Robert Kennedy went after the fucking organized crime. To organized crime went, you know what, fuck this. So they killed Kennedy. So he decides he's going to run for election. And then some tiny little, is it Iranian? Sahan decides he's going to shoot him. But unfortunately, Sahan's in front of him and the bullet wounds was behind. So that was interesting. So he gets taken out. And then there was Ted Kennedy. And Ted Kennedy was banging his fucking aid. And he went off a bridge in Chappaquiddick, put the car upside down in the river. He got out. She didn't. And that was him finished, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, kind of a
I remember seeing that on the news.
dodgy family to be in, really. And then you got JFK Jr.
Don't they?
Looks like he's going to be a great president, shaping up nicely. So his plane falls out the sky, and it takes 19 hours for the Coast Guard to actually effect any sort of a fucking rescue. Although his uncle Ted Kennedy was on the phone all the time, right? And at the time, there's some fucking serious anomalies about it, but apparently he wasn't trained to fly in the dark. But I watched a documentary that some person who wasn't a professional documentary person, he did it, and he put all these anomalies up, and you're like, Jesus, that looks like that bloke was taken out. I wonder why. And he was one of those that could talk to anybody, and he was voted the sexiest man.
I think as far as the Kennedy is concerned, I think none of them could have done a thing. I think the cards were marked, weren't they?
Well, there was a few things that he did. He wasn't going to give aid to the oil barons, so they hated him. He didn't want to invade Cuba, so the CIA hated him. He wanted to break the CIA up. That wasn't very good. And then he injected no interest money into the economy, so the banks hated him. Then what else was it? He wouldn't go into war in Vietnam, so the military-industrial complex hated it. Pretty much, you could point your finger in any direction and find somebody who wanted to put a bullet in his head. But he had to go because he was stopping war and stopping all the corrupt and the elite. And I think they set, I I think what they did there was showing people that this is what we can do to the leader. The rest of you people do whatever we tell you, or this is what will happen. So as PA goes, it was fucking wonderful PA for the military industrial complex. And then he signed an agreement saying that he was going to pull all the military advisors out of Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam. Problem was, military advisors actually mean CIA operatives that do crop burning, coup d'etats, election rigging, and all the other dark shit, like bringing all the drugs back into the country for black ops and stuff like that, because you've got to make money, right? He pulled all the advisors, or was going to pull the advisors out. Lyndon Baines Johnson says, get me elected and I'll give you a damn war, which was a clip that was played in JFK, the film. But he literally signed the order, which reversed everything that Kennedy had done about 10 days, whatever, prior. And he then gave the Vietnam War, which dragged on, which killed thousands of fucking Americans.
It is bad today, mate. Hey, here's a question for you then.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about this interview, the big, massive interview that everyone was...
I've watched a couple of bits of it, right? And at the end of the day, I got to say something quite bad here. I'd rather Putin run this country than who's running it at the moment, right?
Well, you could... Don't even go there, mate. I think a lot of people are thinking that.
The guy that just bought the motor off me fucking said it. So I say there was a fair few saying it, right? But we admit that Putin's got a lot of bad areas, all right? But he's more of a man, right? And we recognize that he's more fucking for his people than our country is for its people, right? Now, there's a lot of bad things with fucking Putin. I'm not going to say there's not, but Putin and what he does to Russia against our lot and what they're doing to us, right? I mean, they're planning to start us. They want to take our cars off us. They want to take our house off us. They want to literally give us nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, I tell you what, let's do a survey. Put one in the comments if you'd rather Putin run the country than our leadership. Let's see what people say. We'll see we'll keep an eye on that.
It is just, I mean, whatever it is, the basic point of it is he's a better leader, isn't he?
Yes.
He's a better leader of a country. And they're not going through all this woke crap and all the fucking brainwashing and shit that this country's going through. Russia isn't.
Mate,
so it's just kind of normal.
There's one. Everybody's saying it. Somebody put it on me, said you do it. No, not yet. I can't be any sort of politician yet. I have to. What was the question? Brody, the question was, would you rather Putin run this country than all the leadership that we got at the moment? One, if you wanted Putin, and just this ones. So I think that people are fairly well pissed off, and I don't blame them. I mean, these people hate us. They want our demise. And we're supposed to be all right with that. What? Don't come out and protest about us trying to fuck your life up, otherwise we'll nick you. Well, then fucking try and nick me, cunt, innit?
Yeah. So what do you reckon about the interview? What do you reckon that was all about, that?
Well,
Tucker Carlson going over there.
along with
something behind that.
Right. I've had it put to me, though, how much I don't know, right, is that there's many people who pretend to be on our side, right, who talk allegedly for the right. And these people are bounded around, and they've got a lot of help behind them, and they're big faces like Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson and many others like that, who are not quite what we think they are. But I don't care.
Oh, right? I've got that one out. Yeah, I've got figured that one out. Yeah.
But the thing is, they serve a purpose because they speak for what we think is us, right? And they say a lot of what we think, right? But they're there to tell us the other side, to keep the them and us, right? So we believe this, the left are taught something completely different, and we fight each other. And it's bread and circus, isn't it? We all must be at each other's throat while we're all fighting each other and hating each other and blaming the other side for all the ills in the world. The globalists go about their day and carry on doing exactly what they're doing, and we don't get organized. But I have to say that if Ireland's anything to go by, the left, the right, the Catholic, the Protestant, are all coming together because they've realized that there's an inherent enemy that's coming to their country, and they've got to deal with that.
I've been watching Ireland, actually. Yeah, I've been watching it, mate, and it is terrible. It's this. I've been watching these lads over here that are fighting the cause, and they're going around all these different caravan parks, and the caravan parks are closed down, completely closed down. There's hundreds of bikes in the front, and The security guards on there. It's all secretive. They're not allowed to film. Blah 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 blah. And they've got like a network going up. Do you know what? There's about 500 caravan parks with at least 1,000 people in there, shut down now and full of immigrants.
Because they know they're getting. It's like having the best season ever, because every one of your beds are full.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything gets paid for, and if there's any damage, the state pick up the tab. I mean,
exactly.
For a company that's struggling, it makes financial sense, but your community are going to detest you. And the other thing is, what seems to be happening over in Ireland is things catch fire. While we don't condone any of that, although I have heard it said by a Brummie, a good coat of fire can soon cheer anything up, depending on how shit it is. But in fairness, while we don't condone any sort of criminality, we have to say that for legal reasons. These things will happen by desperate people who feel they're being wronged. That's the sum of it.
Well, Ireland are scrappers, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? You had the IRA fighting for the country,
and then they got sold out by their own people, though. Fucking make that up.
Yeah, but they still kept on going, didn't they? Do you know what I mean? And I know it's all quieting down now, but with all this, you're going to get a resurgence. You're going to get IRA 2.0.
But you won't
come out, and instead of fighting Catholics and Protestants, it'll be immigrants.
The thing is, the IRA have split almost, not quite, from the leadership, which is Sinn Féin, because Sinn Féin are pushing for mass immigration, right? Sinn Féin used to sing that what we want to do is a united Ireland under a socialist government. Now, if you've been a paddy for all of that time and you've been fucked over by capitalist fucking Great Britain, which is what they're going to say, right?
Yeah.
Then you might think that, well, we haven't done too well under capitalism, but socialism allegedly is going to promise us we'll all get something to eat, we'll all get fed, we'll all have a house, and we'll all be whatever. So if you get sold that bullshit, you're going to believe it. So you've got a load of people which talk well, present themselves well, and say, look, that hasn't worked for us. I'm going to offer you this, fight for me, and you'll get it, right? So all these people went out, fought and died, rightly or wrongly, I'm going to get involved in that sort of thing, right? I mean, I'd be a Protestant, right? But at the end of the day, and I want Northern Ireland to stay part of the Union forever. So that's my statement. But however, I understand some of the grievances from like the Catholics, etc. However, their own people made them fight and struggle for 30 years, only to sell the cunts out to the European Union. And now they've gained a quarter of the population by people who don't look like them, don't act like them, don't like their religion, and want to take them over. How could you do that to your own people after they've done so much? How could you do that?
Yeah, I know. It's bad. It's bad. And you can't, I don't know about you, but you can't condone the Irish people who are kicking off for this. Because, I mean, where I am in the UK, in Chester, we've got the usual influx coming in, but nothing like the rest of the country. I've got to say, it's nothing like the rest of the country.
That's where my DNA concentrates. That's the single point of my DNA when I did all that stuff, because my granddad came from Chester and he won the
No way.
Yeah, my granddad won the grass track racing 250 and 500 back in, is it the 20s or 30s? 3 years out running. So he won the cups, and he got the cup when he died, because he died in Portsmouth. He sent the cups to Chester Museum, so they should still be there. So
cool.
So that's where that's where the Evans side of the family hail from.
Excellent. That's really cool.
Bonkers, isn't it?
I've lived here all my life, mate. It's great.
I haven't actually done the tour of Chester yet, because I want to.
Oh, it's lovely, mate. It's a lovely city. But like I say, we are totally different. And like I said, we've got our own sort of percentage of immigrants coming in and stuff like that. But I look around on the news and stuff, and the reports and on YouTube and stuff, and I see the amount of people coming into other parts of the country, and I'm like, do you know what? Bloody hell. It's bad. It's bad.
What's it say? Sinn Féin loving, where did that go? The comments go so quick, and I'm just like, Sinn Féin just love terrorists, whoever they are. Yeah, I suppose they do.
But no, I mean, it's rightly so, though. Look what's happening. We just haven't got the balls to do it. It's as simple as that. We haven't got the balls to do it. We're that downtrodden in this country, right, with the laws and everything, and we've all been brainwashed into thinking you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. Everything's against the law, and we're all just shit scared of doing anything now, right? I'm just glad that the farmers of this country have actually started up and taken notice of the other farmers over in Europe and get the tractors out on the road and stuff like that, because that's the only thing that works. The only thing that works.
The only thing they understand is force. It's the only thing they've ever understood. And if you look at any movement,
there's a non-violent force, like say putting your tractors on there, or like yourself, truckers like yourself, mate. If you guys block the main roads into London and places like that, no one can get into work, no business gets done. They're hitting the pocket. They will listen then.
There's so many ways.
I think this is what we need to do.
There's so many ways to. I don't believe in bringing the motorways to a stop, because that can cause pileups, right?
No, the city means to stop the city from working, because when the work gets done, the money gets made. But if the work doesn't get done, and you can stop that by parking your cars or vans or buses or tractors,
can you imagine?
And stop these people getting to work. I think that'll work.
Can you imagine if everybody didn't go to work one day, just one day?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
The massive
these
fucking
people are only
financial
going to
fallout.
listen.
Yeah, when they lose money.
They're only going to listen when you hit them in the pocket, mate.
Yep.
That's all they care about is the pocket.
Yep. They're quite happy to see us suffer, but the moment they start losing money, all of a sudden they'll fucking shit themselves.
Yeah. Boycotting stuff as well. That's what we need to start doing as well. On a national level, is start boycotting these certain companies, because they'll soon sit up and listen then, mate.
Yeah, buy local and pay more. Sorry, but it's the best way. So that
no, you're right.
So
you're right.
These local people, especially the people that look after them, they'll always make sure there's something put aside for you. You ain't going to get that at Tesco's or Asda.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. The shops round by us, you could go down there and you say, "Oh, can I grab some some sausages and some blah blah blah, and I'll give you the coin. I'll be back later for the coin." So that you could give it you, take it home, and you can pay them later. Still like that round by us. They're brilliant. So, it's really good. It's like really old fashioned still.
Do you remember that Welsh? Was it a Welsh village? I think the Welsh did it, but also I think a Cornish village decided what they were going to do is make their own currency up and cut the tax out of it, so they couldn't tax it.
Yeah.
And the government went fucking mental. We want our fucking cut of what we want to rob you, basically. We want your fucking money.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, we're cutting you out. And they lost their shit. They're not happy when they don't. When you stop them robbing them, they don't like it. I detest the system, and I found, if I'd have listened to myself 20 years ago, I'd have said, "You sound like a right fucking socialist." But I'm not. I just don't believe that overbearing government, overtaxing, and all the rest of it, when they make such record profits, they don't need to. They could make money and still be fair, and we wouldn't have to struggle. But why? Because they like us struggling.
Yeah,
definitely.
No, I think any future forward protests in this country, mate, people need to start thinking and coming up with ideas of how to hit these people in the pocket, because everything they're doing now is they're just ignoring them. You've got millions of people protesting here and there, and what do the government do the next day? Nothing, not a thing.
I had somebody say to me in the messages,
bring on the next protest, and then
yeah.
It's we need to suss out how to hit these people in the pockets, mate. Whether it's boycotting or what.
Only way that
that's the only success we're going to get.
Yeah, non-violent, but financially crippling them, right? That's the only way.
Yeah, that's exactly it, mate. That's exactly it.
I had somebody say to me, "What are you going to do?" Right, this is me. you YouTubers tell us about how bad it is. Well, what solutions do you have? And I just messaged about, you've got to fix it, not me. I said, I'm here to tell people what's going on that don't know. You've got to come up with the ideas. Don't expect other people to do it for you. My plan is this: keep building up the channel till I'm quite a presence, while I'm waiting for the opportunity to get into a position where I might go into politics. But things have to be really desperate for them to vote in a lorry driving gobshite. So I've got to wait. But people go like, give me an answer, fix the problem. Get off your fucking ass and do it yourself, you tired cunt. Don't leave it up to me. I'm a YouTuber. I'm a lorry driver. That's all I am. Fuck it. You probably run companies. You're probably far more fucking intelligent than I am. You can network better. Why is it me? Just because I do a YouTube, and they go, well, you lot need to fix it. No, you need to get off your ass, you tired cunt, and stop putting it on others.
Yeah. Well, before I go, I'll give you a little bit of warning.
Go on.
Be careful what you say on your channel, because if you do get into politics, mate, they're going to drag it all up.
That's why I say exactly what I say. Fuck them. And this is why I've always come out with the fact that I've been done for drink driving, I've had drink problem, I've had depression, I've been to prison.
Yeah, honestly, it's the best policy.
I go through all of this.
Honestly.
So when they go, we're going to tell the world that you've been to prison, I've already done it.
Yeah.
We're going to say that you used to drink a lot. They know.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we're going to say that you were a cheat when you were a kid. I've told them.
Yeah.
You know, you have nothing. And that's why I do it.
That'll actually stand you in good stead, mate, because you'll be more of a real person and not just a politician then.
Yeah, I was a fucking arsehole when I was younger. I didn't give a shit about things because I didn't know anything.
All we know are politicians. They all went to private schools or posh schools, and
yeah, they had some
all went to
prefects hanging out their arse for
They've all
5
done
years.
the same thing, haven't they?
Yeah, they were getting buggered senseless. Fuck, that's what probably taught them noncery anyway. Fuck that. Do you know what? 14, 15 years old, I was driving a car around the fucking back roads of the countryside rather than go to school. I fucking hated the place. Absolutely hated it. I couldn't wait to get away from it. They went, "Oh, did you enjoy school?" No, I was the second smallest in the year. There were a load of fucking bullies there that were fucking arseholes. They're not bullying now, by the way. Right? It was full of teachers who were fucking socialist wankers. Right? The place was falling down and they were trying to teach me so I wasn't interested because I didn't fucking like school. The way I thought, I ain't getting paid for this. You're taking my time up. But there it is.
I hated school.
Yeah. Well, anybody fucking who didn't want to be told what to do. And there are a few of us, right? The cantankerous bunch of cunts that we are that went, I ain't fucking being told by you. Who the fuck do you think you are? You know, you're just another human. You don't fucking boss me about, cunt. And that's where I was. I'm like, well, man, I can't believe your attitude. You know, you know, and they were like, if you don't do it, you come home and I'll sort you out. And he fucking, you know, I just didn't. And when the old man hit me, right, which he did on occasions, he just see me looking at him and he's like, I just like, you are not going to make me cry. And you're not going to win. You could beat me to death and it won't make any difference. And he just saw something in me that he liked but didn't like. Do you know what I mean? But no, fuck it. I hate being told what to do. But I understand that there have to be rules, right? I do, because otherwise we'd live in just a fucked up place. But there's rules. There's too many rules, and there's rules for the sake of rules, right? But as for school, I didn't respect the teachers. Half of them didn't even want to be there. They were burnt out. They were talking shit, and some of them were selling us utter bollocks. You want to help me out? Tell me about how politics is corrupt. Tell me about how to fucking organize a mortgage. Tell me about how to avoid credit. Tell me about that kind of stuff. No, fucking a corroboree, some Aboriginal fucking. Who gives a shit about that? Or, you know, fucking geographical bullshit. It's like, oh mate, really? So. I hated it. I think the only thing I did like was CDT because we used to go down the motor vehicle engineers and go and look at the pictures of all the accidents and things like that. But generally speaking, just get me the fuck out of it. I had glandular fever for 3 months, best 3 months of my life. I was fucking ill, but I was out of school. There it was. Anyway, there it is. All right, buddy. Well,
it's lovely to talk to you, mate. And I'll give you the bell back on another day, but I'm going to go and get something to eat now because I'm starving here.
Yeah, I haven't eaten yet, so I better do something in a bit. But yeah, you take it steady, mate, and I'll see you in a bit.
And you take it easy, dude. Thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye.
I do like my callers. They're really nice. They make my night. When I'm having a stress one, it's all going wrong. You get callers like that. You're like, thank fuck, there's good people in the world. Do you know what I mean? Can you imagine the left? They're like, oh, they're all racist bigots. No, we just haven't been brainwashed like you fucking wankers. Right, okay. Hello.
Do you know what I mean? Can you imagine the left? Like,
hello.
All right, can you turn the live stream off in the back?
Right, okay. Hello. Do you know what I mean?
Hello.
Yeah, can you turn the live stream off in the background?
Off in the back.
Yeah. Okay. Try.
Hello.
Yeah. Can you turn the live stream off in the background?
Hello.
Hey, I'm in.
All right, mate. Yeah, all you got to do is just turn the volume down on that live stream. We'll be all right. That's all. Because otherwise you hear me twice and it gets confusing as you like.
I know, mate. I've turned it down there.
How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad.
Do you know, you know when the phone tells you who's calling, yours comes up differently to other people. That's just it gives, you know, a bit weird. I won't obviously I can't say on here, but it just comes up with more details. You're like, all right, well done. So yeah. Anyway, how are you?
Yeah, brilliant, mate. I wish I was a bit better than the British government.
Mate, you're definitely better than the British government. Literally, you could be terminally ill with fucking cancer and still be better than the British government. And that's no disrespect for anyone who's got cancer.
I'm sorry to say it, but I hate all politicians.
Well, they don't give you a reason to like them, do they?
They just tell lies, and they think
we are pathetic.
Last fucking honest fucking politician that I can think of talked about rivers of blood. Look what it did for him.
Yeah, Enoch Powell.
Exactly that.
He was correct in what he said,
Mm-hmm.
and this government is just, just letting them all in.
Exactly. I mean,
What can we do about it? I mean,
well,
the government's not going to do nothing about it.
what we need to do is look at what we've done so far. Did it work? No. So we need some fresh thinking.
Right.
We need to financially cripple the system if they don't do what we want. Because at the end of the day, they are running the system for us. But at the moment, they think that they own us, own the system, and that we are the same as a farmer who owns cattle. They look at us like the cattle that we are to do with whatever they want to do with, whichever makes the most amount of money. And if they want, so we need to change their way of thinking, and they need to be more scared of us, right? And I mean this in a legitimate term, okay, than they are of the powers that pay them, right? They need to see us as more of a worry than they do if they don't say, for instance, BlackRock, what's going to happen to them, all right? And as the society falls apart with food shortages and the decaying society because of the new to the reservation they brought in, which detest everything, it's not just white people they hate their own, they hate black people, they hate Chinese, they just fucking hate everything, these cunts, right? So as they start to attack people on the regular, right, and we go without food, people are going to go, I've got nothing to lose anymore. And this is when they're going to do illegal acts, which we can't condone, okay? And they will take it directly to the source as they see it. And you'll end up with bad things happening, and the politicians go, oh, they're coming after us. We're in danger. You did it to yourself. You deserve everything you get because you were trying to fuck these people over in such a dramatic way that people were going to die because of your actions. You cannot do this.
Right.
What do you think?
Right, yeah, but that's going to be a few years' time, isn't it? I mean, now they can try and stop people from growing stuff in their back gardens.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of that?
Oh yeah, but they've been thinking about that over 10 years. They want to make it illegal for you to gather water off your roof. They want to make it illegal for you to use the wrong type of seed. Fuck off! You don't tell us what to do.
They want a total control over us. I mean, come on now. How are you going to stop people doing that?
The thing is, right, the only way this is going to end, right, is when they make us starve. That's when people will go out and sort the problem out. I mean, look what they did to Venezuela under socialism. There was people over there that were about, on average, a stone lighter than the people who lived in the country next door that wasn't under socialism. What does that tell you?
Oh, right.
So, I mean, these people were out fucking eating. They'd ate their own pets, right? Well, what they did was they gave their pet to their neighbors so they could eat their neighbors' pets because, not very good. And then the other thing is there isn't very many flamingo anymore because apparently they taste like chicken. So they ate them. You know what I mean? What are we having tonight, love? Well, if you can catch the fucking thing, that bird over there. All right, then. Be right back.
Yeah, but honestly, I think the worst fear I've got is the Muslims. They're going to take over this country and we're going to be fucked. That is my main worry.
Well, so stab you to death or starve you to death. The options are bright. I mean, just really, the future's bright. The future's orange. Oh, no, it's not. But it's bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah.
I want to offer some solutions, but the only thing you can do now is hit them in the pocket. There's no other way. We tried everything else.
But I'm worried about my kids. I mean,
we should be. Anybody normal should be.
They're 22 and 17. I mean, all these Muslims coming into this country, they're trying to get their own government. I mean, it is a real worry.
Yeah, it is. And then they're coming in en masse and they'll vote their own people in because they'll be told to, and their vote will be used by their they're imam. They got to go down there and he'll fill it out and off you go, right? So they'll get organised and we'll just mill around, pointing the finger at each other, going, "You're left wing, you're right wing." We'll just shit all over ourselves.
Right.
What is it? We're like, what is it? They said we're like playing chess with a pigeon, isn't it? Well, what he does is he puts his chest out, knocks every fucking piece over, shits all over the board, and struts around like he's a result and a winner. Yeah. We need to put our differences aside because we've got problems.
We're not like the French, are we? We will not come together and do anything about it, will we?
Well, we haven't needed to. Laid back. When was the last time we had to come together? Fucking miners' strike, and look what happened there. So,
I think the last time we came together was poll tax, wasn't it?
To be honest, I can't think of any time since Second World War where we've actually stuck together coherently. I mean, the miners' strike, there were people that went against the miners, right? But what do you do? You know, that's where we are at the moment. We're in a bad way, and we need to stop pointing a finger at and I think the left are coming around now because, you know, they were very, very invested in their look lovey, look caring, save the planet, love everybody that comes, try and give everybody a fucking home because, well, I wouldn't want to live in a third world country, but I think they're getting the hang of this now. So
yeah.
Okay, then. So if they do, we can link up with them.
Thanks very much.
No worries, mate. You take it steady.
Yep, cheers, mate. Bye.
Well, I'm starting to think about maybe winding this up. Mind you, it's 10 o'clock now, so probably because I need a pee. What do we got? We got 9-7. Oh, we got another call. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me all right?
Hello.
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 Yeah, let's give up. Because I ain't clearly working. I'll tell you what I'm going to do is probably wrap it up now, and I'll do a Sunday sermon. That's the best way. So let me pull that down. And I might go around and gate crash a couple of streams like after I've been for a pee. Maybe as Dave. Who knows? But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up now because I've been up since 5 this morning. I've had 3 hours kip, and it's been a long fucking day. So I'll say thanks to everybody that's come on. Thanks to Mark, who was very informative. And we might pop over on the Discord for a little while to say hi to everybody. So you've got the link to Discord already. And if you haven't, there you go. Apparently Tuesday's on my Tuesday if you want to go over there and have a look at that. I shall wrap it up and I'll see you in a bit. So thanks a lot.